Alright, in this video I'm just going to work through some sample problems on the Praxis core test. So we'll just start with working through some examples. This first one is, which of the following contains the three numbers in order from smallest to largest? And on this you want to focus on, you can see the ones digit, they all have threes, but the next focus is we're going to look here at the tens in the tenths place. And so you can see this one goes to 0.0 to 3.5. So this one's going from smaller to larger, and 3.5 to 3.52, because this is technically 3.50. So it automatically looks like this first one's going to be our choice, but let's just make sure. This one goes from 3.0 to 3.52, then to 3.50. So that one's not going to work. And then, well, technically we've already found the one that's correct, but we can just look to see this one's smaller than the first one, this one's smaller than the first one, and this middle one's out of place in that one. So you can just see that our first answer is going to be in order. And one of the easy things you can do with decimals is just line up the decimal places and put them vertically, and sometimes that helps. Okay, let's look at our next one. Alright, a vending machine, well, contains 42 items, 13 candy bars, 14 pretzels, 15 packs of gum. After recess, there are 11 items remaining. In order to calculate the total value of the items not sold during recess, what additional information will be needed? So first thing, one of the key things is we're looking for total value. So we actually have to know the cost of each of those to know what the value was in the first place. So the cost, we definitely need to know the cost, because if not we can't figure it out. And then if we need to know the number of candy bars that are left in the vending machine, and then also the number of pretzels. So we did candy, this one was candy bars, and this one is pretzels, because if we know candy bars and pretzels, then we can figure out how many packs of gum were left. So then if we know candy bars and pretzels, then we can figure out how many packs of gum were left, and then we can multiply those times their values if we knew how much each of those cost to figure out. So in this case, it makes us need all of the above. So the answer on this one is all of the above. Alright, our next is reading a graph, and it says, suppose there are 7,840 people in this town who are in the age group 20 to 30. So we're looking at this age group here. Okay, so which is in this particular case that 14%. How many people are in the age group 41 to 50, which is this dots? So we want to know, the question is how many are here, but what we don't know is the total of people altogether. So the first thing we have to do is we have to go back and figure out the total. So if we're say people, let's do this in blue just so it matches what we know. So the people, the total people times 14%, which if you write 14% as a decimal, you write it as 0.14, and you multiply that out, that's supposed to equal 7,840. The total people times 14% should equal 7,840, because that was our first statement. So to solve for P, divide both sides by 14%. So if I divide this by 0.14, divide this by 0.14, we'll find out that the people are equal to 56,000. So there's 56,000 total people in all of this. Well, the question is, how many of those people are 22% of that? So then to find out the red portion, we would take 22%, which is 0.22 as a decimal, of the total people, of means multiply, or we multiply those two out. So to get that calculation, put 0.22 times 56,000 in your calculator, and the number of people will be 12,320, which looks like this answer choice. So that's the number of people that are in the category 41 to 50. So in this one, they didn't tell us the total people. They gave us this 14% in the age category. So we had to figure out the total first and then use our total, multiply that by 22% to find out how many people were in the age category of 41 to 50. All right. In this number, let me write this out. 3, 4, 5, decimal 6, 7, 8. It said, what is the sum of the digit in the hundredths place? 100. So 1, 10, 100. This is a hundredth place. And then the digit in the tenths place. So tenths. Because remember, it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it says, what are the sum of the hundred and the tenth? So we would just say 3 plus 6 is equal to 9, which looks like we're here. Okay, on this next problem, it says, which of the following calculations give you the same result? So you can do one or two things. You can multiply all this out, get that answer, see what it's equal to, and then multiply each of these out to see if it's equal to find the one that gives you the same results. But if you pay attention to it, this one has 25 is multiplied by 10, 35 is multiplied by 10. Shoot, erase the wrong one. 35 is multiplied by 10, and the 27.5 is multiplied by 10. So you can see that 10 is distributed to all of those. So in this case, that's saying 10 multiplied by all of the other ones when they're added together. So that's using distributive property. And that's easy. Or like you said, 10 times 25 would be 250. This one's going to be 35 times 10 is 350. Plus this one will give us 275, which if you totaled them all together, it would be 875, which is the same thing if you multiply these out and you get that total. Distribute 10, or add all those together, and you're going to get 10 times that 87.5, which is equal to 875. That's if you wanted to spend the time just checking. But for the most part, you should recognize distributive property there and see that those are equivalent. Okay. Table shows salaries of 6 employees. Suppose 2 new are hired and their salaries are $34,000 and $38,000. Which statement is true about the new mean? Mean is the average, so you have to add them all up and divide by the total number of the 8 employees' salaries. So what we have to do is, first thing, we have to be able to calculate the original mean. Which means add all those up. So we would do 32,000. Let me get this mouse to work. 32,000 plus 36,000 plus 34,000 plus 33,000 plus 35,000 plus 32,000, and that would be 33,666.66, because you take all of that value, hit enter, and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when you add them all up and divide by 6, this should be your original average. Okay, and then we need to do the new average, the new mean, which is 32,000 plus 36,000 plus 34,000 plus 33,000 plus 35,000 plus 32,000 plus 34,000 plus 38,000 divided by 8, because now we have 8 people. And when we do that, and we calculate the new one, we should get 34,250. Okay, so the original mean was adding all the totals divided by 6 because it was 6 people. The new mean is add all the totals plus the 2 new people and divide by 8. And so we need to determine what's going on. And it said the mean is clearly increasing from 33 to 34 means it's going up. So it's definitely not the same. It's not going down. It didn't double and it didn't go in half. So the mean would increase is our answer. Okay, there's probably a couple of different ways to work this one, but I'm just going to share with you the first approach that came to me, and which was to start with my 3a divided by 7 equals b. And because it says it's an if-then statement, um, because the second part of it says 6a plus divide by 14 is equal to something. So I figure if I can solve for a in the first one, then I can plug that into the second equation right there and try to figure out a value. So that was kind of my thought process. We'll follow through and just solve for a to start. So if I want to get a by itself, I want to solve this and get a by itself. So if they divide by 7, I'm going to multiply by 7. Actually, let me rewrite this so it looks a little bit better. 3a divided by 7 is equal to b. Alright, so my first step is if they divide by 7, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. Well, then these 7's cancel, and I'll have 3a is equal to 7b. Alright, then I still want to get a by itself, so I'll come over here and I'll say, what did they do to a? They multiplied by 3, so we do the opposite, the inverse of that, and divide both sides by 3. So a is equal to 7b divided by 3. Well, now I have a value for a, and so my thought is if I plug that in up here in place of a, I can solve the other one. So let me come back over here, and I'm going to take this information, 6a divided by 14, and now I'm going to plug in a. So 6, and I said a is 7b divided by 3. Let me clean that up a little bit. So that's, and then that's all of that divided by 14. So 6, and in place of a, I put 7b divided by 3. And then in the numerator, divide by 3, divide by 3, and you just get 2. 2 times 7 is 14b, and in the denominator you just have 14. Well, then this 14 cancels with this 14, and you're just left with b, which is this answer. So basically I used a substitution problem. And the first thing I did was I took the original one and I solved for a. And I got a to be 7b over 3. So then I went to the second equation and I plugged in a. So I had 6a divided by 14. Just rewrite this equation with the division. And then in place of a, plug in 7b over 3. And then that's just simplifying the fraction and reducing the rest of the way to solve for the missing value. Alright. A triangle has a side, let's just sketch this, and these triangles are not to scale, it's just a rough sketch. Let's say has a side that is 6 units long and a side that is 4 units long. Which of the following could be the length of the third side of the triangle? Select all that apply. Now you have to be careful here, especially on these particular problems, that'll check all. So with this one, you need to be familiar with the triangle inequality theorem, and basically that just means that um, the length of the third side of a triangle must be greater than the difference of the other two sides, but less than the sum of the other two sides. And let me just kind of jot that down. The difference of the known sides, this is the triangle inequality theorem, must be less than the third side that we're looking for, which must be less than the sum of the known sides. Okay, that's our triangle inequality theorem. So first of all, we're looking for this third side over here, which is this part. Okay, but the difference of the known sides, what's the difference of the two known sides? That's 6 minus 4. The difference means the subtraction, so that difference is 2. The sum of the known sides, this would be 4 plus 6. Make that better. So 4 plus 6 is 10. So we know our third side is somewhere in between 2 and 10. So we're going to click all the values that are between 2 and 10. Now it can't include 10 because it doesn't have the equal to bar. Remember? So we can only do these three, 4, 6, and 8. So that one does make you have to recall the triangle inequality theorem to be able to work this one. Okay. In the month of April, Jalen ran 6 miles. Let's just say April ran 6 miles. In the month of July, so April, May, June, July, she ran 9 miles. If she keeps running in the same linear trend, how many miles will she run in October? So July, August, September, October. I'm just going to kind of jot this out so I can figure out, well, here it's plus 1, plus 1. So add a month, add a month, add a month. So each time we're just going up by a month. But over here, how do you get from 6? What would that be? Looks like 7, 8, 9, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9. If we continue that trend, then this is 10, 11, 12. So by October, looks like she's going to have 12 miles because it told us it was a linear trend. All right, this next one. Triangle is a right triangle. One of the most important words, concepts in this one is a right triangle. So when you draw this triangle, the sketch, you're going to have a 90-degree angle because that's what a guaranteed right triangle has, a 90-degree. And it says at angle B. So not only did they tell us it was right, but they also told us to name that one angle B. That means just pick A and C to be here. It doesn't matter if I would have swapped the order. But we do know that angle B has to be the right angle. That's the only one that has to be. Okay. Next, they're going to give us descriptions. They'll say if from A to B, so A to B right here is 6. Label it. B to C, segment BC here is 8. What is the length of angle AC? So the question is, they want us to know what is this side. Okay. Well, that's just Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where c is the hypotenuse side. It's always the longest side. That's the only one. A and b are interchangeable, but c has to be the longest side. And in this case, the longest side is this red one, and that's the one we're looking for. So I'm just going to let a be 6, and B be the other side, which is 8, and the longest side is the one we're looking for. So actually I can put that one in red so it's kind of all lines up. And the rest of this, just do the calculations. So 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 8 times 8 is 64, which those are going to be 100 is equal to c squared. To get c by itself, take the square root. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. Square root is going to be plus or minus 10, but in this case, because it's positive values, we only take positive 10 because it's an application problem. So square root of 100 is 10, and that gives us our answer right there.